Hello there. We're back and better than ever. But you're muted again.
Okay, there we go. How we doing now?
Okay, so far so good. Two strikes. We still have one more until we strike out.
Hey, well, when you get a certain age, these modern things like radio can be challenging.
Tell me about it.
I told Peggy one time, I said, "Hon, you know what? We were born before television. She didn't speak to me for a week."
Now you
No,
tell your grandchildren, but now you ask your grandchildren, you're born for television. They say, "What's television?"
I know. Well, the beautiful part about not having television is the family would sit around at night and listen to the parents' favorite radio programs. Well, you're not seeing anything, you're just hearing, so you can use your imagination. You can think. You sit and watch television, your brain is dead.
Right.
There's no
Just,
thinking. So,
just watching it like that. But on the other hand, no, I definitely agree. I'm from that. I'm from the tail end of that generation that liked listening to the radio, but I much prefer visual things. Like
of
I,
course,
I, 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 I really don't like doing telephone calls. I much prefer a Zoom like we're doing now, because that way I get to see you as well as hear you.
you can
And I'm
see
not
how
obviously
young you can see how
I'm not talking
young.
about you, but I think that sometimes people will say, "Yes, Gideon, what do you have to say?" They put me on the side over there, and they go and they prepare a cup of coffee or something like that because they don't see them. But if I could
Already had a
see you,
man right
there you
here.
go. You've already made your coffee, and I've got
I'm
my
already
water over here.
I'm
Everything
ready
like that.
for you. So what do you now you went to the dentist? Did you what happened?
I had a temporary crown, and he got the permanent crown, and he just glued it in over there. Not a big deal.
No, right.
Not a
So
big deal at all.
you feeling okay?
I feel fine. I nothing to complain about.
So how are we doing with the war against Hamas? How's the country feeling about it?
I don't know. Have you checked the news since you've woken up?
Well, I saw that two hostages were rescued.
I also spoke to another friend of mine who saw that, and this is just incredible news.
I don't know how those IDF guys did that without getting killed themselves and
They
getting
didn't they
and
didn't
getting
get killed themselves. They didn't not a hair of the hostages was I mean and the you would think that the Hamas terrorists, you had one job, make sure that these two guys don't get kidnapped back by the IDF, and they blew it.
Yeah, I just don't see how. I read a little bit about it. It came through the roof or something, but I just, I mean, the element of surprise, I'm sure, but wow, that's amazing. God bless them.
That's right, and God bless them, and God has blessed them, and the IDF goes nowhere without God as well.
Well, absolutely. Israel is the only country in the world that has God's name in it.
I wonder. Well, I'll take your word for that.
So I wouldn't be messing with Israel if I was not on God's side. That's
Yes,
proven throughout history. So, yeah, it's God has his redemptive plans and purposes. And unfortunately, because of our sinful bit of human beings, it always does require suffering, unfortunately. But if we can come up a little higher than the street level of life, we can see, even though if it touches us personally, that's very hard to do. I understand, but we we can get up a little higher, we can see a bigger, more world view of God's kingdom view of it all. It's just unfortunately human beings are so selfish and sinful that anything that good happens on this earth usually requires suffering. Oh, that's just the way it is. But God is our hope, and our trust is in Him, not in some man-made government or man-led government.
You said that anything good in this world can only be achieved or procured through suffering. Is that what you said?
No, didn't mean to say it that way. I said when you bring heaven to earth, it requires suffering.
Okay, now you give me an answer that's even harder than the question. What do you mean that when you bring heaven to earth?
Well, God has his will. It's written in the good book that you gave us. And when you study the good book, you see He wants to do certain things on the earth, and there are forces in this world that oppose that. So that usually requires sacrifice and suffering.
Because there are powers that are trying to keep us from doing God's will, therefore we must sacrifice and suffer.
It usually requires that to bring heaven to earth. Absolutely. I mean,
Well, this is simply a term that I'm not familiar with, to bring heaven to earth. I think that I think that heaven to earth is, you know, when I married my wife, that was bringing heaven to earth. I'm in heaven.
for you personally, but not for me. I didn't marry your wife.
From what I've heard over the years that we've been talking, you've got a pretty good deal yourself.
I've got heaven on earth right here in my own little tiny world, but I'm just a little tiny speck in the big world, you know.
So you're saying to bring the ultimate heaven down to earth.
I'm saying that God has a will, it's revealed in the Bible. And that will is in heaven, and He uses human beings like an Eleazar ben Yehuda, a Theodore Herzl, a General Edmund Allenby, people like you, people like me, everyday people, to bring His will from heaven to earth. And there are opposing forces to that. So it requires you to give your life for it, actually. Sacrifice and suffering, all of that.
I don't know, sacrifice. I think an effort. I mean, are you equating? I'm not disagreeing. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. You're using terminology that I'm less familiar with. Are you saying
well, that's good. We're learning together.
that suffering is equivalent to effort? I make effort to bring God's will into the world. Like wake up a little earlier.
No, I'm not talking about effort. No, something far beyond that. God, there are forces on this earth, as you well know. You're living right there in the middle of them that oppose the will of God. I mean, you just experienced it on October 7 in a horrific way beyond. You can only say these people were so filled with the devil and demonically inspired.
Yes.
But there's nothing else you can say about those people. There's no other explanation for them. So obviously there are evil forces on this earth. However you want to theologicalize all that stuff, there's evil in the world.
Okay.
And evil resists the will of God. So to bring heaven's world to earthly reality, you have to pay a price for that.
So you're saying that's another word for war. In other words, there are.
I don't mean war, just your personal life. Your personal
My
life.
personal life? I find that I'm doing quite well, thank you very much. I don't have too many problems. I mean, I pay a little taxes, and
Gidon, I didn't mean you personally. I mean an individual personally. Did Ben Yehuda pay a big price to bring a restoration of Hebrew to the modern world? Of course he did.
the price that Eliezer ben Yehuda paid was he was trying to make a mini revolution, and people laughed at him.
Well, they also threw him in jail. They also threw him in jail, you know, and scorned him.
I don't remember the jail part. You remember that better. And somebody that comes to mind that went into jail was Natan Sharansky, a giant of small stature, of small physical stature, who still walks amongst us.
Sure.
And he was jailed by the Soviet Union for many years. He and many other prisoners of Zion,
Refuseniks.
refuseniks, ultimately their strength, together with those who supported them from outside of the Soviet Union, together with other various dynamics, world and economic and I don't know what else dynamics, brought the fall of that Soviet regime. And from my perspective, and from the perspective of many Jews, I think that had a lot to do with the heroism of people like Sharansky and Yuli Edelstein, friends of mine.
Absolutely. So they obviously paid a price for their beliefs.
Yes, yes.
This is what I'm talking about. If
So
you
the people who pay prices for their beliefs, I gotcha. People who pay serious prices, that means that there is need to pay those prices in order to bring about a world that their beliefs are the ones that are leading the world. I think that's what you're meaning.
we're getting closer to an understanding. Yeah. So absolutely. Israel is paying their price, and they have since 1947.
Yeah, and way before that as well. And I think that we, as a excuse me, as a citizen, one of the 9-10 million citizens of Israel, a simple citizen, I think that we're doing pretty well. I think that the quality of life here in Israel is higher than most places in the world. Certainly, if you count it by people's own perception of their own happiness. Israel wins incessantly the top four, the top five of the most happy people, most happy lives in the world. We're certainly much happier than Americans on average.
That's very true. I've read those surveys myself. It's a happy place, and when Christian Zionists get off the plane for the first time at Tel Aviv, almost invariably, we led tours for 30 years. They all say the same thing. Now, this may be a hard thing for you to grasp, or maybe not, because you've been working with Christians a long time, but they all say the same thing. I feel like I'm home. So you don't have to be Jewish to be a Zionist.
That's right.
Oh, it's a happy place for lovers of Israel, regardless of whether they're circumcised or not.
Those are the circumstances. That's right.
So I agree with you that Israel is doing real well in spite of all the hell that's unleashed against it ever since it was born in one day, as the prophet Isaiah predicted, and as David Ben Gurion declared it.
Yes. I think that we're at a point now that, as the phrase is, differentiating between, I think, the sheep and the goats. People are now seeing that, and people who are saying, no, 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 I'm going to stand with Israel, even though it might mean that somebody's going to yell at me or point their finger at me, that's real suffering that these people are going to suffer.
I wouldn't call that suffering, no.
Yeah, nowadays you have, what do they call those? The snowflakes. The people are, oh, I don't want to get hurt at all. But that's what we need. We need stronger people, and the stronger people are the ones that are standing with the Lord.
Well, amen. And the world lives in a great big gray, but God is in black and white. And with this horrible thing with Hamas, I think God is using that, even that evil, to blow away the gray area so people can see who they really are. You're either for civilization and righteousness or you're not, you know. You're for Judeo-Christian values or you're not. And in the end, nobody will be able to hide in the big gray. So this is actually good, you know.
I think so.
So
I
tell me
definitely
about
think
your
so.
family. How's your family doing?
Well, let's see. I don't remember the last time we spoke, and I don't remember the last time people are listening to my conversations. But I had two sons and a son-in-law in active duty. None of them were in Gaza. My one son and my son-in-law were sitting and waiting in the north near Kiryat Shmona, near Lebanon. Ultimately, they sent them home. And my other son, Akiva, he was located outside of Gaza. He was spent a lot of time also in Ashkelon. His job was the representative of the rabbinate of the army, of the military, at the Ashkelon hospital. So if any soldiers would come in to the hospital, he would be there to help them to get whatever they wanted or needed. But they let him go also. But now I'm reading that they're calling him back up in about a month.
I
So
see.
we'll see what happens. I'm very proud
You should
and putting
be.
my trust in the leaders of this country. I think in spite of all of the hassling that they're getting, both from without and within, they're doing a terrific job.
I
And
just
I'm
hope
only
they'll
supporting them and hoping that they will succeed in completing the job.
absolutely just give them that Joshua blessing. Be strong and of good courage, for the Lord
Amen.
your God is with you wherever you go. We speak that blessing over them, not to listen to the voices of that would deter them, but to be single-minded and focused to complete the job, finish them off. Hallelujah. Amen.
All right. But it is true that there is a lot of pressure, and we do need to pray for the leadership of Israel, the military leadership, the political leadership, the elected leadership, that they will hold steadfast and try to overcome that which the people outside of Israel are trying to force upon them.
Well, absolutely. And of course, there are tens of millions of Christian Zionists in all the nations of the world that don't agree with their government policies and stand with Israel no matter what.
Did you hear about the newly elected president of Argentina?
Yes, he's been there already, hadn't he?
He came with the first international trip that he made was to Israel. And frankly, I was a little bit surprised that he didn't go up to the Temple Mount. He went to the Kotel and he was dancing with the other Israelis over there. And he's also not only a very, very pro-Israel and pro-Jewish person, he's also very capitalistic. He's saying we got to leave hands off. The government has to stop taxing people, let people flourish. So I'm
Very
in
good.
the Likud party, and my friends in the different WhatsApp groups, they're saying he could give us a lesson or two. Netanyahu is a well-known capitalist, a free market, but he's really doing a good job. So we're hoping that he will be successful also.
And maybe his success will spill over to his neighboring countries.
Yeah, they could probably will. I hope we're praying for him too.
So when you get to be prime minister, are you going to have me as one of your advisors?
Don't hold your breath. But I'm telling you right now, I assure you that when I will be prime minister, you will be my #1 advisor.
Oh my goodness. Does that mean Peggy and I can make Aliyah and live there in Jerusalem?
When I'll be the prime minister, all of my Christian friends will be able to make Aliyah.
Oh
No
boy,
question about it.
let's get your name on the ballot.
Yeah, it ain't that easy, believe me.
I know.
But maybe our friend Avi Lipkin is making that kind of a whatchamacallit, a promise, an election promise, a campaign
I don't
promise.
know. He's doing something, I guess. But there are Christian Zionist people who would be very helpful. Of course, we do have the Knesset Christian Allies Caucus, which Peg and I have been part of that for many years with our friend Joshua Einstein and
Yes.
others. Others have passed on now, but we've been part of that in long distance for years, ourselves. So
Mhm.
it's good to recognize that there are Christians that the Jewish people can trust, and that's a hard thing to come to that conclusion. I understand, but
I'm a trusting person, and I have found that makes my life happier, and that's really the whole point.
that's very true. Trust with discernment. Trust and verify is what President Reagan said. Yeah. Trust but verify. That's a good balance, I think.
Okay, absolutely. So, anything else going on in your neck of the woods?
Oh well, yeah. Yes, Friday at the office we spent most of the day cleaning up wax from our structure we have called the Wall of Remembrance. I don't know if you can see. I've got a little picture here. I don't know if you can see it on the screen or not, but it's
Shalom, shalom, Jerusalem.
yeah. This is our Holocaust Wall of Remembrance. And I don't know how well you can see it or not.
Yeah, I saw it, more or less.
Yeah,
See some candles there.
It's an amazing sculpture. As far as I know, it's the only one like it in the world. And I was speaking years ago. I think I was in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure. And the church there had something like this. And I said, we need something like this for our Kristallnacht memorials. And so the man who made it was a barber, made his living with his hands. And
He was a barber?
Yes.
Okay.
And he made it for us. And because it was such a God thing, the way I would put it, his hands went numb while he was making it. And he just had to struggle through it.
Wow.
This is how he makes his living,
Oy.
And we got it shipped down here. So we had this displayed every year at our Kristallnacht Memorial. And it looks like charred wood from Auschwitz. It's
Wow.
It's what it looks like. And it has 18 names of death camps on it, and a place for lighting candles.
Just one second. Maybe I'll be able to find that picture on the internet. What is the name of that? What can I look for?
Well, it's the only one. We're the only one to have one. This is it right here.
I understand, but maybe somebody took a picture of it and put it on the internet somewhere.
Well, it's in our playlist on our Kristallnacht memorials. We have about 18 Kristallnacht memorials on our website, the whole thing on our playlist. But so it has 18 place names for lighting candles. And every year at our Kristallnacht, we would have a Jewish person and a Christian person light the candles together. Very emotional time. And I would tell a little bit about the wall while they were lighting the candles. So we haven't had these meetings in a few years now, and it's been sitting in our office, covered properly, protected, 'cause it means a lot to us. But it had wax all around the candle holders where the last time we'd used it. Wax build up. So
Yeah, when was the last time you used it?
well, it's been 10 years, I'm sure. But two of our dear friends came out, and it sits down in this case to protect it. So we took it out and got all the old candle wax off of all the little candle holders and made it look really, really, really nice. And so we're going to be donating it to a Christian Holocaust organization here, passing it down to the next generation. So we wanted to have it all pretty and clean for them. So that was a major accomplishment for us this past Friday to get that all cleaned up.
What organization are you passing it over to?
Just a local one in the Houston area. So anyway, this was a big accomplishment for us to get it all cleaned up, get all that wax buildup off, and because it's like I say, as far as I know, it's the only one in the world, and it sits on this on its own. It's down inside here, but then you can take it out, and then it sits on top of it. So we have our little plaque that says IHCS Wall of Remembrance Never Again that we put on there. So for us, this was a major victory to get that accomplished. It had a lot of wax buildup on all these little places 18 places where the candles
I
are.
understand.
So this was a major happy accomplishment for me and Peggy.
I'm glad to hear that, and I'd love to get a digital picture of it, to show me that picture in the glass and in front of the camera. You can't see it too well, but if you take pictures of it nowadays with your phone or with a digital camera and then send it over, that would be very interesting. I'd be happy to feature them on Root Source also.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm sure I can do that. But on my website, on the playlist, it has all these Kristallnacht memorials.
I think I'm looking at that now, but I can't see. I haven't seen a picture of that memorial itself.
Well, it's not the picture; it's the videos. So you have to go in.
I quickly went through the video and I didn't see it yet. I saw like 2 or 3 while we were talking. I did a quick silent peek at the videos.
Okay, you're good at multitasking.
Not always. That's my wife.
It's probably maybe 10, 15 minutes into it or something. I don't remember. You had to make all these introductions first, before you do that.
As I'm looking, if this is what you're talking about, this is Kristallnacht Memorial. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years worth of videos since 1998.
There should be. We've got more. I don't know if they're all on there or not. But
I see from 1998 till 2013.
And 98, yeah, the first one we had in 97, we did video. We didn't have our video team that first year. So 98 for 18 years. So I don't know how many are posted on there, but yeah. So then we have our friend Randy Spencer, who does a Never Again Shofar presentation. You would enjoy watching that. That's on there too. It's about about 11-minute shofar presentation where he's blowing the shofar the whole time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Send me the link to that and I'll definitely watch it, and I'll post it with this conversation that we're having.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find these things, and I'm kind of high-tech challenge these days in my
I understand. How are things doing with your books? Are your books selling? Are you sending them out?
Oh yeah. they just had some friends in Florida order 30 of my booklet, Time to Favor Zion Has Come, to help people understand that story. And then they ordered 10 copies of a booklet I have called The Battle for Truth, which also have a postcard that goes with it showing
Yes.
10 commandments of Arab myths. And they ordered some more books. And then Peggy can look on her phone and see what orders we have.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah, so when we get into the office 1 or 2 days a week, that's what we do all the whole time is fill these orders.
You guys are fulfilling the orders. You should find somebody to help you with that.
It's not so easy. We do. We have somebody. We have 1 or 2 people. Yeah, we do. But Houston is so big, nobody lives nearby anything, so they have to drive an hour to get to the office. People who help us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, through the traffic. So. Yeah.
Where are you on the northern side of Houston?
Yeah, the north side. Yeah, north. Yeah.
Because my friend Becky Keenan is way on the south side.
Okay. So it's probably an hour and a half to get to us, and we're still all in Houston,
Yeah, to drive an hour and a half just to fulfill one book, that isn't so good. But maybe, I don't know.
Well, usually it's a bunch of orders,
Still.
So like somebody from Peggy just saw on her phone last night, somebody from New York ordered 13 study guides for one of our books. That means they have a home group of 13 people.
Wow.
And they have the book, but they don't have the study guide. So
Right.
they don't have the study guide. So yeah, so everything's going fine. Still touching lives.
Well, that's very good. Please send my regards to Peggy.
Thank you.
And we shall see each other soon in another month or so.
Please let us know.
I'm very grateful and blessed that we have these conversations, sir.
Please let us know if we can do anything for you.
Toda rabah.
Okay. Shalom.